Hi, everyone. Also, people who are watching this on YouTube later on after we're done. This is the second edition of WAM Talks, our monthly Instagram live format where I speak to an amazing member of the WAM community about a subject from the world of fitness and nutrition that they are passionate about. Today, I'm joined by Shireen, who is not only an amazing functional fitness athlete, but she's also coach. She's co-founder of Badass Mentality Coaching. She is the founder of No Doubt Training. Um, and yeah, not only that, she also has a doctorate in economic and social sciences. So needless to say, she's a really, really smart cookie. Um, if you don't know me, I'm Anna. I'm founder of WAM. We are more. I also hold a doctorate, but it's in organic chemistry. I'm also a certified sports nutritionist. And with WAM, I'm offering no-nonsense nutritional supplements, but I'm also building a community of people that are aligned in the thought that strength is and looks very different on everyone, and that fitness and nutrition are truly something that is for everybody. And I believe that Shireen and I have a lot in common in the way we feel and think about things. And today is going to be a very exciting conversation about all things confidence. Um, and please make use of the fact that we are live. So if at any point you have any questions, just throw them in the chat and we'll try to get to it as we go. The whole thing will be around 45 minutes, I guess. If we get a lot of questions or if we really dive deep into one or the other points, it might be an hour, but that's it. And without further ado, I would say let's get started. And one thing that I want to pick up straight away, as we're talking about confidence, is how do we start? Because fitness spaces for someone looking in from the outside can be something that feels very intimidating. Marketing is doing its part. Quite often we see people advertising fitness and nutrition that already look very fit. And it's easy to get the feeling like, oh, this is not for me. So how do we get the confidence to get started?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's stepping out of comfort zone first and foremost. When you're really new, when you have never worked out in a gym environment before, it can be definitely very intimidating. And stepping out of comfort zone is always hard in the beginning, but you have to remember it can be so rewarding when you do it, when you accomplish it, right? So that's the first thought I would give. I would say attend a free trial class in a gym, like nearby where you live, or in any gym. It can be a CrossFit gym, it can be just a normal, like conventional gym, a high rocks gym, whatever it is, whatever you want to do. Most of the gyms offer free trial classes. And if you not keen on going there alone, or if you're like a bit afraid, just grab a friend, do a trial class with him or her, and yeah, let the coaches show you around. And I would say the most important part is not just doing a class there, or just dropping in and doing some things and train there for an hour or so. It's about observe what kind of people are going there, what's the vibe, how are the coaches, how do the coaches approach you, right? I think at the end of the day it's more of listening to your inner voice, especially when you try out different gyms, and just go with your gut feeling. If you feel comfortable and if you think that's a space you feel comfortable and you can thrive and learn, that's the right space for you. And if your gut tells you, I don't know, and maybe that's not the kind of people I wanna like deal with, just search another space. There are so many gyms out there, and yeah, just go for it. Make that first step and do it.
I think
Yeah.
it's also like doing a trial class can also be
Yeah.
a great thing to see which form of movement even clicks with you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're both coming from more of a functional fitness side of things, but
Yeah.
there's so many things you can do, and not everything is for everyone. Um,
100%. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's a great thing too. And what helped me personally as well was checking how people behave after or before the class. Like, do they
Yes.
communicate with each other, or is everyone just like packing up their things and running back
Yeah.
home?
Yeah.
It's usually a not so good
Yeah.
sign
Yeah.
in terms of community. And
Yeah. And
how do
also
you,
when you step into the gym and you see people are only having the headphones in, right? And not like paying attention to what's going on, or when people are getting in and out, or just saying hi and bye, right? That's just the small things which from my point of view matter the most, or matter a lot. And so just pay attention of all those things, as you said. Yeah.
and how do you do it with your coaching? How do you encourage more of a community spirit or like an inviting, open atmosphere?
I think a strong community is very important, especially for me, for no doubt training, for my people. I want my people to get to know each other. I have a WhatsApp group where all my clients are in, and we communicate on a weekly basis. I try to keep in touch with like the whole community. I mean, I keep in touch with all my clients on a personal level, one-on-one, of course, but also like getting that community vibe. It's very, very important and valuable. And also like in a gym, because at the end of the day, you want to spend your time with like-minded people, and a strong community reflects that, I would say. And also from my experience, it's very often that you meet your new friends at the gym, your new best friends, or even your life partner, right? So that's really happening. That's not just you say it and that's never happened. It's really happening. So you meet your friends, you meet like-minded people there. So it's not surprising. And a strong community is, yeah, it's just a great motivation. For example, um, partner workouts like in my gym, so it's Zone Fit here in Vienna, so we have partner workouts every Sunday, and people love those classes because they grab like a friend or just a person who they like in the gym and was like, hey, let's do the partner workout next Sunday 10 a.m., right? And it's just they're making that training, they're making a social event out of the training, so they're getting a really good training session, a really good, like an hour of exercising in, but also you feel really good afterwards because you accomplished something with a friend or with a person who you like or you get to know in the gym, right? So that's very valuable as well.
Nice. And I think, I mean, we're going to talk about it later, but I think it also really helps to stay on track with your habits and your
Yeah,
routines. To
yeah,
have people who are aligned with that and kind of living the lifestyle as
yeah,
well.
percent. Yeah,
Let's take a step back and let's talk about confidence itself.
yeah,
How would you define confidence when we're speaking about confidence in fitness?
yeah. So I mean, there are so many different definitions about confidence, which are all legit at some point. But it's for what I say to my clients all the time, which is less of a like formal definition, but more of a mantra, is confidence is made by evidence. And I want to explain a little bit what that means. It means basically that you should and you have to embrace small wins. And like all wins, but especially also the small ones, like those you have every day in the gym or at work or at home when you cook a healthy meal. It's about, for example, today I properly warmed up before my training session, or I ate veggies with all my meals today, or I slept 7 hours this night. You know, it doesn't always have to be like those big PRs and those really like, I don't know, I won the competition, or I PR'd my snatch, or I hit that number on the scale, right? It's not always about all those like outcome-based big wins. It's especially about all those small processed effort-based wins. So embracing the effort, embracing the learning, which means sometimes just show up and work on your technique and just give the best what you have at that day. And the other part of confidence is made by evidence is you will fail, right? You will have setbacks. And I think we talk about that later on a little bit more. And it's really about embracing those failures as well, because that are part of the process, right? And a failure is always a chance to learn. And so embracing that culture of a failure doesn't have to define you, like you're not a failure because you couldn't do this or that or hit that number in the gym, or you couldn't lose that 5 kilos or whatever it is. It's about learning, right? It's the best chance to learn. And building confidence is a process. It's made brick by brick. It's by showing up. It's by putting in the effort, no matter the outcome. I think that's most important.
So it's basically like a muscle. You can almost train it as you go.
100%. 100%. So I would say um, it's definitely like a muscle. You need repetitions, like this, similar to when you want to learn to snatch, for example, or to clean. So you need a specific amount of repetitions with an empty barbell or broomstick even to get the technique in. And the same holds true for our brain. We can rewire our brain. It needs enough input. It needs evidence. And with that input and evidence, it forms new neural pathways, and it starts to override that maybe old narrative or story which lots of people have in their head, like I'm not strong enough, I'm not worthy enough, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't lose 5 kilos. So many people struggle with not like trusting themselves enough, right? Or not being confident enough, but you can really rewrite those narratives, right? And yeah, and beat those emotions of fear and self-doubt. And I want to give you an example about that, because I think it's very interesting, and also something I'm working on with my clients a lot, especially within my mindset coaching. And so what I'm observing is that many clients struggle with, for example, heavy lifts, or with ring muscle ups, or like those a little bit more challenging skills. But even the more like new gym goers who struggle with like just going in there and just learning those basic movements, right? So it's all about like having all those self-doubts. And for example, if you have those self-doubts in a lift, like a back squat, like always when you squat, you think of, I don't know if I can hit those numbers, I don't know if I'm strong enough, I don't know if I can squat my body weight or whatever it is. And what I'm working on with my clients is often we create kind of a confidence lifting routine, for example, if we stick to that back squats example. And it's about stepping up to the barbell with a specific emotion, with conviction, for example, or even with anger. If anger is something that's an emotion that's lifting you up, right? I mean, it's everyone is different. Everyone needs a different emotion, but it's like, for example, conviction or anger. And you might also visualize beforehand that you succeed that lift, right? With that specific weight at the bar. And you take a deep breath, and what's really like working in a really good way is you focus on a mantra. For example, I got this, or I'm convinced, like a sentence or just a word. And you only have that word or that sentence in your head when it's go time, right? So you do it, you do the lift, and you hopefully succeed in that lift. You might not succeed in like every time in every session, but I think the most important part is you rewire your brain with thinking of something which is uplifting you, getting that emotion of I am strong enough, I'm convinced I can do this, I can lift that weight, I can do this, I can push through, and just learning the brain to having all those like emotions in you and that mantra. And you practice that like with every lift, not only when it really gets heavy, but also with an empty barbell, because you really want to get that repetitions in. So really get that repetitions in, practice that, and make it like a routine, like something you just do, right?
Yeah.
Could be, yeah, something someone can work on, right?
Definitely. So we have like a mental component next to the physical component, and they both work together to
100%.
build that
Yeah,
confidence.
yeah.
And if we're speaking more about the physical
Mhm.
component, how does or in which ways does our progress in training, like getting stronger or more mobile or whatever the goal is, and
Mhm.
also in the
Mhm.
chosen sport, um, like how does that help to build the self-trust that can then also translate to other areas of life?
Yeah. Um, I mean, I would distinguish mindset and the physical progress first and foremost. So for me, mindset is that inner strength you have, right? And it lays the foundation. It's your inner talk. For example, you got this. You tell yourself that every time you approach something heavy or challenging. It's the discipline you work on. It's your just your inner strength. And then that physical progress is basically the tangible feedback. So it's about, okay, you hit that number, like that weight on the bar. You lost 5 kilos and you see it on the scale, right? It's like the tangible feedback that of course is nice and you need that, but it's more of, it confirms basically what the mindset has been building on, right? So I think it's important to distinguish those things. And strength is not just physical; it's a lot about, or most, some people would say mostly about that inner strength, right? Because that's the foundation. And the cool thing about the mindset thing, so the inner strength, it doesn't disappear when you exit the gym. Not at all. So even it's the complete opposite, I would say. So when you exit the gym, when you're out of that bubble, you have that evidence that you can do hard things. You have that evidence. You build your routine. You go to the gym. You approach those challenges every single day, and those challenges might look very differently each day. Sometimes they're bigger, and sometimes they're just that small things you accomplish, right? But that can definitely transfer to all areas of life. For example, at work, right? So when you have those inner strength, you're more resilient. When you think of, hey, I can do so much hard things in the gym, I can do those hard things at work as well, right? I can like face my supervisor and ask him or her for a promotion, for example, like that transfers 100%. Yeah. But it's more of that like mindset thing, that inner strength. And I think, yeah, that's really the foundation. And if you think you lack on that inner strength and you're a little bit too much outcome um, biased and just look on your numbers and the number on the scale and the weights, and if you're faster in that workout than your peers or whatever it is, you definitely lack on that mindset component, and you could, like just work a little bit more on your inner strength and build that foundation.
Yeah, I think I don't know which book I read it in, but it was the problem with being like too goal biased. Like, say you have the goal of running a marathon at the end of
Yeah,
the year, and your main driver is really this one goal, but you never appreciate the training to get there. You do not
yeah,
build the identity. You wouldn't say
yeah,
about yourself, I am a runner, because you feel like you can only
yeah,
call yourself that
yeah,
once you have accomplished this goal.
yeah,
But then as soon as anything happens on your journey to get there, like any setback might make you throw in the towel because you've not done the inner work. You've not learned
exactly.
to accomplish the journey to get there. You wouldn't call
Yeah,
yourself a runner, although you very much are one.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
It's a
it's just,
slippery slope. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
totally agree.
So definitely the mindset. And I mean, I noticed it for myself, like as soon as I started strength training regularly and realizing that, hey, I can do hard things. I am getting physically stronger, yes, but I would also just call myself a strong person.
Yeah,
Um, People realize that probably earlier than the physical changes, to be honest.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
and it
think so. I think so too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
um And I feel like I don't know how it was for you. I think you've been doing the sport a lot
Mm-hmm.
longer than I have. But for me, it was also, as I said, people notice the changes like to my personality before they realize the physical changes.
Yeah.
Um, and for a while, it was met with, let's say, admiration or, hey, good on you, like you're doing it
Mm-hmm.
regularly, you're working out regularly. But I noticed like a tipping point
Mm-hmm.
where people then switched to saying, oh, maybe you're overdoing it, or,
Yeah.
oh, you got so boring, like, why are you not having another beer? And then when the physical slowly started to like catch up to the mental changes, it was also like, oh, now you're a bit too much. Or if people wanted to put a
Yeah.
positive spin on it, they were like, oh, I like that for you, but I wouldn't want to look like that myself. So I think this might be a more women specific problem,
Yeah.
since visible muscle
Mm.
isn't something that society is really ready for
No.
still. But yeah, I was
100% not. Yeah.
interested to hear also your experience, your point of view, maybe how your clients perceive it as well, and
Yeah.
how to deal with it, because you're building this confidence, you're getting stronger. But as soon as you carry it outside of the fitness bubble, sometimes it can almost backfire.
Yeah. So you mean like being too much, especially as a woman, like having those muscles and yeah, I mean that's a really an extremely important topic, I would say, and I think mm, a lot of women struggle with that topic in our bubble, right? So as you said, like I don't think our society is completely ready for women who have like muscles and who look just differently than we are used to or we used or exposed to like in advertisement and on TV and so on. So I think the most important part is to first get perspective. So we are in a very small bubble. So I started with functional fitness with CrossFit in particular in 2013. So it's been 12 years, right? And as you said, it's not so you don't. I haven't looked like I look now, like 12 years ago. Of course, it's like a slow progress. So you don't do 1 month of strength training and you look like, I don't know, like any Thoristotia, right? That's not the way it works. It takes years. But the thing is, so we are in a very small bubble. So the functional fitness bubble, the CrossFit bubble, even the High Rocks bubble. So this is not like our sports is not like one of the main sports out there, right? So we look odd to non-gym goers. So especially women, not as much as men, because like men with muscles and six packs and everything, that's basically kind of normal, right? Or not that odd, but women with muscles, it's odd, right? And we get comments like unasked all the time. I don't know if it's the case for you too, but I've been approached by strangers on the streets so many times who commented on my body, especially now, like in summer month, right? When you don't wear like lots of layers and clothes and you just see that you have muscles. So I'm getting so many comments, not only from men, also from women, but especially from men. And I'm really getting and it's not hate, right? Don't get me wrong. It's kind of like compliments or whatever it is, but it's strange, right? It's for me, it's very odd. Like it's strange because why the hell are you commenting on my body unasked, right? So just from nowhere. This is just not nice, right? And we're just not fitting in that stereotype female appearances, which we know from our society. And yes, it has changed a little bit. It was definitely not that way 12 when I started CrossFit. So that was so the women, the girls I got to meet in the gym who worked out for several years, and you could tell, okay, they have muscles and they look different. That was very rare, like 12 years back then, 12 years. So thanks to, I would say, the sports of CrossFit or functional fitness in general, like the female athletes who you can see on YouTube all the things they are capable of, right? And how they look. I think they did, or that was like one important like milestone or one important key factor for changing a little bit of what society is thinking or how they viewing us women with muscles, right? But there is definitely more work to do, so you can tell, right? And it makes me really angry and sad that women still can't look like they want without being judged. This makes me really angry and sad. And um, it's it's I mean, if you take into account that like looking a certain way, like, and also being physically strong, because we in our functional fitness bubble, we look that way because we work out and we are not working out to look a certain way. So this is really different. So we are not bodybuilders, even though I like bodybuilders do a great job. And if you want to do and pursue like bodybuilding, do it, and if you want to work out just to look a certain way, do it. But it's especially in our bubble, like we wanna like be strong, we want to pursue skills, we want to lift heavy weights, right? And it's basically the result of like the muscles we are putting on is the result of the hard work we are putting in, but it's more about performance rather than just aesthetics, right? But we're getting so many comments about our aesthetics. And it's and I also want to say it's like the appearance, one thing, but also the physical strength, which is also really like still intimidating for a lot of especially men. So you go at the gym and you have maybe that average Joe gym goer, like new to that sport, and might not lift as heavy as you can lift or do all those skills that you can do. And that's fucking intimidating for many men, right? It's just odd for them if you are stronger, or if you have more six pack, or if you have a bigger biceps, right? That's one thing. And my last thought, and then I let you talk again, is on top of that, if you're a smart, well educated woman, as you are, as I am, right? And with muscles and a great physical strength, you might live a very like degree lonely and isolated when it comes to finding, for example, a life partner, because so many men are so intimidated of not just your physical strength and your appearance, but also, like, on top of that, being smart, speaking your mind, like being a strong woman, right? And I've experienced that in the last years a lot, and it still blows my mind, right?
Yeah, I think we're still very much living in a society that has very ingrained gender roles, which is a problem for so many people, and also
Yeah.
something I hope we can work towards changing in terms of a mindset
Yeah.
going forward. Um, and I think it also starts with just accepting other people's choices about their bodies and the way that they show up, and not commenting on it, especially not unasked, and
Yeah.
also not thinking that you are making them a compliment, because no
Yes.
matter how someone looks, you might not know why they look that way. So even
Mhm.
if you mean well,
Mm.
it's usually not a good idea.
Yeah.
Just, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
just leaving
100%.
that there.
Yeah, 100%. And I will say, I don't know the solution. Like, I mean, I don't know, but what I know is I don't want women to hold back. So I want them to embrace their strength. I want them to embrace their muscles, and I want them to embrace their education. And the wrong way would be to take a step back. Basically, I want female, like women, embrace to be too much, right? Quote unquote. Let just be too much. Be just be whatever you want, right? It's just a label from society to be too much, right? And I don't want women to hold back. And I don't have the solution, but I think it's very important for um, women like you and me and so many other women out there who embracing their bodies, who embracing their strength, and going out there and showing off, right? And showing what they are capable of. And I think that it's important that we continue to doing that, and hope that society will change that, and will like normalize women with muscles. So we don't want to be, like, seen as being better and strong or whatever. We just want to be like, it just has to be normalized, right?
Yeah, definitely with you there. Um, let's circle back to confidence. Let's talk a little bit about outside of the gym,
Mhm.
how confidence affects performance. You mentioned before, like it might give you the confidence to walk up to your employer and ask for a promotion or a raise. But I think it also influences a lot of other aspects of your life.
Mhm.
Um, what have you seen, for example, with coaching clients, like accomplishments that came from progress in building confidence at the gym that then helped in situations where maybe you wouldn't even have thought it would have an impact in the first place?
Yes, for sure. I see it like day by day when I'm coaching clients in private training sessions or even online. So what I have seen is they speak up more, especially women. So when when they get stronger physically, especially women feel more empowered, right? And that transfers to every area of life, not only in the gym, as I already said. So you don't like fuel that inner strength, and when you exit the gym, it's gone. No, it's just sticking with you, and it transfers to other areas of life. So speaking up, feeling empowered. So that's one cool thing. Especially, I mean, when you think of, I don't know, I can now hold a handstand for 30 seconds, or deadlift or squat my body weight, or whatever it is. It's just so cool and so empowering. And of course, you can show that new born power also at work, for example. So they feel more empowered, but they also feel more confident in their skin, because there is also like a shift in not so much about, I just wanna be thin, right? And just wanna be small as possible. Because when women start to train, do resistance training, they start to feel that empowerment from using weights, and like by the time building muscles, and of course they feel differently, right? And they see how all those all those benefits, right? And they feel just more confident in their skin. And also there is a shift in their priorities by building new habits, a new healthy lifestyle. They get to know themselves better, and at the end of the day, it's, as I said, like confidence made by evidence. You build that confidence brick by brick by doing hard things, and getting like your increasing your inner strength, like step by step. And that shows in every area of life, which is so cool to see for me as well as a coach. I'm always very proud, and I always say I'm the biggest fan of my clients, not only a mentor and a coach, but I'm also really a fan, right? If they accomplish something outside of the gym, which I can see was directly impacted by what they can do inside the gym, it's the coolest thing for me.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, and I feel like a particularly useful learning that comes from any sort of exercise that is challenging you mentally as well as physically is this, we've said it a few times, this just learning that you can actually do hard things.
Mhm.
Because I feel like in our society or our world, it's very easy to get very, very comfortable. I mean, we have like our whole environment, we have houses, buildings, they're air conditioned. We're not even like exposed to too high or too low temperatures anymore. We
Yes.
have cars or public transport that gets us anywhere. We don't really have to put in the work to do many things. And I think over time that can just slowly but surely lower or like even degrade this like barrier and this resistance. And
Mhm.
suddenly things that would never have been a huge issue, or you wouldn't have thought them to be a huge issue, become this like huge
Yeah.
problem in your head because you're
Yeah.
not used to dealing with it anymore. And I
Yeah.
think exposing yourself to hard things and challenges regularly helps to like set that bar higher again so that you don't have a mental breakdown when it's like 5 degrees hotter because you're like, well, I'm working out in the gym which doesn't have air conditioning and I'm like moving a lot more than I am now. Like this is fine, I can handle this.
Yeah. 100%, 100% agree. And it's really about that exposure of doing hard things. If you never do anything which challenges you, how can you learn to handle that? And when, like, let me say, when shit hits the fan, like, I mean, shit happens in life. That's life, right? And you never expose yourself to challenges, right? To in a like safe way. it's so hard to build that resilience, right? And I really like what Huberman says about doing hard things. As many of my friends and family know, I'm a big Huberman fan. And he says, if you want to grow, pursue things that are hard but doable. And I think that's really important. And because it's not just doing hard things, and it's not about endless suffering in the gym and beating yourself up and being hard at yourself all the time. Not at all. It's more about that healthy dose of challenge, even the small ones, because yeah, you grow outside of comfort zone. We know that everyone experienced that. It's what we need. We need those challenges, right? But as I said, that doesn't have to be like always like beating yourself up like all the time and be so hard on yourself. That can be like really small challenges as well. And I don't know. I have friends who became new moms, for example. So, and lately I was thinking of, okay, like a challenge for a new mom. What could be like a way to expose expose a new mom to a new challenge. It could be, I don't know, for example, prepping your breakfast the day before, even though it feels so hard when you have a newborn, right? And it screams and whatever it is. I mean, I'm not a mom. I can't really 100% imagine that, but it might be hard, right? Or take a 20 minutes walk outside when your partner is watching the baby. Just give yourself permission to do that, right? And just small things, which seems to be really hard when you first think of it. But I think that exposure is really, really important. And as you said, our society is built upon like build of comfort. Everything is comforting. Everything. We have everything available 24/7. There is just no like there are just everything is like low barriers, low entry barriers, right? And it's good on the one hand because it makes life more comfortable and everything, and it's the modern lifestyle. I get that, and I enjoy that as well, but you sometimes you really have to ask yourself, like, I mean, what you're capable of doing, what you can do, like just get out of that comfort zone every now and again. Try something new, try a new sport, sign up for a free trial class in a new gym. Um, I don't know, like order in like completely new different food, right? I mean, it could be really anything.
Yeah. Go to the cinema by yourself, which is
Yeah,
also
yeah,
things like that,
yeah,
practicing self-reliance and not being dependent on
100%.
others
Yeah,
being with you.
yeah. I mean, for me, it's always, for example, travel alone, right? Like travel by myself, like that's still completely out of comfort zone, like going into a new country by myself and just not to know what I can expect. But that's my personal challenge, which I accomplish every year, because I know like what's on the other side. Like it's hard in the beginning, but when you do it, when you accomplish it, it's so rewarding and you can learn so much about yourself. And it's really sad when I hear like from friends or in my family that they are just, like, oh, I could never travel alone and I could never do that. And it says, of course you can, but it's you don't want to step out of that comfort zone. You don't want just to go for it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Let's circle back to setbacks, roadblocks,
Yeah.
things that will impact this identity you started to cultivate and grow for yourself. For example, you started to go to the gym regularly, you get very fit, you have built your identity as an athlete, but then as a woman, for example, you have family plans and you get pregnant.
Mhm.
And this can really impact your performance,
Mm,
the energy availability you have for showing up, the physical requirements, and so on. How can we make sure to not have to let go of the identity that we built? How can we adjust this identity so that it fits the life stage we are in?
mm, mm. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's a really hard thing when you build your life around that identity, like, for example, I'm an athlete, I'm a CEO, I'm the best in my class, or whatever it is, right? It's really hard. And the thing is about, if you um, build your whole life around those persons or identities, it can be taken away from you. As you said, you can get injured, you can get pregnant, for example, an athlete maybe, and you used to compete, and you get pregnant, like, surprisingly, and then you get injured. It can be taken away um, very quickly. um, I think it's important that you don't, like, identify as a specific person, rather than identify as a person who is doing specific things. Like, I'm a person who trains. I'm a person who eats healthy foods. I'm a person who leads. I'm a person who's putting the effort in their studies, rather than I'm a founder. I'm an athlete, right? I'm the best in the class. So I think it's more about what you do and how you do things, rather than who you are, like what's your, like identity wise, right? So I think it's really important that you don't label yourself too much, and think more about building effort-based goals. So, for example, if you're injured and if you can't train your upper body because of a shoulder injury, work on your squat, work on your leg strength, or try something completely different, right? There is always things you can do. But if you just identify as an athlete or a competitor, and that is taken away from you, it's really, really hard, right? To get out of your head, and and just, do something else, or just work on, or work around that injury, for example.
I think you can almost look at it like a pyramid, like you have all of your habits at the bottom. Like for example, you eat well, you move your body regularly, and so on. These form
Mm,
your foundation, and then I am an athlete
yeah,
sits at the very top of that.
yeah,
And if that gets removed, you can still fall back onto other elements within your foundation, even if you cannot move regularly at all at the moment,
yeah,
being because of time availability or any other constraints. You still have these other blocks of your foundation. You can still eat healthy. That's something you
yeah,
don't have to let go of just
yeah,
because you can't move at the moment. If anything, it maybe becomes even more important and can
yeah,
like take over this
yeah.
this bit.
100%. And it's also all about control what you can control, right? And not focus so much on things that are out of your control, like winning a competition that's out of your control, or a specific weight on the scale that's out of your control, or if you're the best in your class, it's out of your control, right? Because there are also other people where you have to count in. Yeah.
You can just do your best
Yeah, do it your
in the run
best.
up
Yeah,
to it.
focus
Yeah,
on the effort that you're putting in.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And I guess also considering that there might be setbacks,
Hmm.
once if it's something that is temporary, is there a strategy you would recommend to find your way back?
Yeah, 100%. And it's especially actually like a 3-step thing I'm working on a lot with my clients. And I think when you have a setback, it's hard in the beginning, of course, like an injury or something which you didn't expect, right? It's always hard. And you have normally you deal with a lot of emotions, with a lot of feelings. And I think the most important part in the feel all your feelings, emotions. Don't suppress them, because we humans, like, we tend to suppress those feelings because they are uncomfortable. They are uncomfortable. And it's supposed to be that way, right? But you don't suppress them. Feel all the feelings. Don't react to them. Just respond. Just let them be, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, as soon as you feel like you have, like, all your feelings, yourself a little bit better, right? It's you settle a little bit, take action, because action means you stepping away from that feeling of, because when you have a setback, you feel just so powerless, right? You just feel, okay, I don't know what I'm doing now, right? Take action, take like really small steps, right? Make a priority list. Like make weekly goals, like really small ones. It could be something like, okay, I'm doing when you're injured, for example, I'm doing my exercises from the physical therapist like every day for 20 minutes, or I'm sleeping 7 hours at least every single day. Things that you can control, and really like small things, right? Of course, it's important to have a bigger end goal in mind. For example, when you're an athlete and you're injured and you want to get back to that competition floor, for example, of course, you want to get back to that level and want to snatch a specific weight and do that ring muscle ups and being super fit again. But just having that goal is hard. It's a goal that you might reach in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 2 years even, right? That's, you don't know that. So it's really important to have those small goals, like weekly based, for example. And the third step is taking yourself accountable. So when you set those weekly goals, just make it like a routine, a habit. You write your goals of the next day, or your priority list of the next day, the day before in the evening, or just build on a routine. For example, you do your exercises from the physiotherapist every day after work, like those 20 minutes, no matter what, right? Just build a routine and hold yourself accountable. And it's easy to hold yourself accountable with those small wins. And the last thing I want to say is, like, setbacks are important because everything happens for a reason. Life wants to teach us things, right? With setbacks, with failure, with every setback, even though we don't know that in that moment, maybe, or a week later, or a month, or a year later. But at some point, we will figure out why we had that setback, right? That's always the case, and there's always something to learn about. So don't take a setback always as something just negative, even though it feels very negative in this moment. But try to get perspective and try to think about, okay, what does life want to teach me?
Yeah. And if you have built the foundations, if you've worked on the
Yeah.
habits, on your mindset, you have something to fall back onto.
Yes.
If you have a community, maybe via the gym, or you have a very good relationship with your coach, all of these things will ultimately help you.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. If you are disciplined, if you build on that discipline and ultimately those routines, those habits, which will stick, you're, yeah, like on the way to getting better very quickly. So if you do your mindset work, it will definitely be easier, such setbacks.
If people want to work with you as a coach, where can they find you?
So the best way to approach me is via Instagram, no.training or Badass Mentality Coaching. We might get the links also in the description notes or on
Yeah,
YouTube or
I
yeah,
will figure out how to
yeah.
do that.
You can text me like a DM or approach me over those two channels, and yeah, would if someone is interested, I would love to onboard more like people who are open and yeah, want to learn a little bit more about confidence, and yeah, would love to hear from you.
Yeah, build that confidence and build that strength, not only the physical
Oh,
strength, but the strong
yes.
mind. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time on a Sunday,
Thank you
nonetheless.
too, Anna. It was a
and
pleasure.
and I think we'll hear from each other over
Yes,
time. This won't
100%.
be the last time we speak, for
Yeah,
sure.
no.
And this also won't be the last Instagram live we do. So WAM Talks is a monthly thing. And I will announce the guest for next month pretty shortly. And that's it. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you again, Shireen, and have a
Thanks,
great rest
Anna.
of the day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.